Dick, thanks for doing this. This is for the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame, and it's all about making Randy Anderson happy. As we all know, that's what it's all about. Read about your huge sports, career, but it had to start someplace. So talk about your mom and dad.
Oh, my mother and father, Fred and Margaret, moved from Utica, New York to Jamestown back right after the war. Mm-hmm. And I was born in 1946 and grew up on the east side of Jamestown, down by Jamestown, where community college is now,
Right.
and formerly a 9-hole golf course,
Right.
which I grew up on, literally, and spent a whole lot of time down there, and ended up working there and till I closed in 1970, I think it was. But
What brought your dad and mom here?
I don't know. That's a good question. I am not sure. They had a large family, brothers and sisters down in the Utica area, mm-hmm. and they used to come up and visit us all the time, but not all the time, but a lot. But why they moved, I really don't know.
So what'd your dad do here?
Well, he was a bartender at the old Buffalo Grill.
Sure.
And my mother worked there part-time, and so we grew up in the Dexterville area. That's what it used to be called.
Yeah.
And Swedish, Italian neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And got to eat the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you're Pole. How did you fit in there?
German, Irish. And it fit in beautifully. I loved it because every Sunday, the Baglias,
sure.
Bill Baglia, but his younger brothers, we used to play a lot together, and it seemed like I was at their house every Sunday for pasta. And Frank Vassallo, I think
sure.
you know Frank.
Yeah, of course.
Frank lived right across the street from us, and spent a lot of Sundays there having pasta. But yeah, I really enjoyed the old East Side. Went to East Jamestown School, which is the annex for the JCC.
Right.
And of course, that was condemned back when I was a kid, and they ended up building a new school up on Bush School up on Buffalo Street, but they still use that building down, the old building. So a lot of memories, a lot from the East Side.
So where did you live then? Right near where the stadium?
We lived right above the Buffalo Grill.
Okay.
And then we moved, when I was 12 years old, we moved up on Faulkner Street, Faulkner and Kip.
Yeah.
And lived there until I went in service. And it's the only two places I've lived when I was growing up.
Yeah. And so as you were growing up and being so close to the municipal golf course, mm-hmm. was there somebody that sort of introduced you to that sport?
Not that I can recall, but we as a group of kids always used to play baseball or play kickball or play golf. My father had an old set with a leather bag of mashies and niblicks, and I don't know if he ever used, but anyway, I grabbed those clubs, and a bunch of us went down to the stadium. First we started hitting balls and just banging balls around by the softball field next to the stadium.
Yeah.
And then we sneak up to the course. There's a green right up there. And then I spent my early life being chased off that golf course by Stan Lundeen. He was working there.
Was it?
Jerry Lockwood.
Yep.
Forrest Corey, who was a giant of a man. And of course, Wally Carlson. But I would sneak on every day. And they chased me through the 100-acre lot. I see their truck coming. And that's when the Gerald Gator Club was the pro shop.
Oh my God.
That was the pro shop.
I had no idea.
Really?
And it was a challenging 9-hole golf course.
Yeah, talk about it. I played it, but I was a kid. But
Yeah.
talk about, because it was on a hill.
Yeah, the original clubhouse, like I said, was the Gator Club. There was a pro named Don Bogan. Yeah, Don Bogan was the pro. He was no Ben Hogan, believe me. But he ran the pro shop, and Wally and Stan Lundeen and all those guys I mentioned. They worked on the golf course itself, mowing greens, fairways, and whatever.
So they worked for the city.
They worked for the city.
It was a city-owned golf course.
It was a city-owned golf course, right. And so I was like 9 years old back when I started being chased off that golf course. And finally, Forrest Corey caught me. And in the 100-acre lot, I saw him coming. I took off with my clubs, running through the 100-acre lot. And he didn't give up until he caught me. So he takes my clubs, takes them over to the Gator Club Pro Shop. He said, you can have them back when you want to talk to your dad. Does your dad know you're down here doing this every day? I don't think so. So he was obviously a little perturbed when I told him he's got to come down to the pro shop to get his clubs back. And of course, back then, a membership for that golf course was like $7 a year. But hey, that was a lot of money back then. We were going to get $7, but he coughed up to $7, and then I was a member every year thereafter. And we would play. We feel like we got cheated if we didn't play 36 holes. We'd go around and around till we got dizzy down there. And it was a challenge. It was par 5 was on the very first hole was the first tee was by the Gator Club, going down James Street or whatever, across the ditch, right, and the green was right behind right field fence, and across from the 10-pin bowling alley. And then
And the JCC campus did not exist then.
did not exist. No, it was just the boys' club area was what they were using. But yeah, so they kept moving the pro shop, the old shed, basically. It was then they moved from the Gator Club down across the street from 10-pin bowling alley,
Okay.
right behind right field. And then then the city turned over the golf course to the college, because if there was matching funds,
Okay, yeah.
state-wise or federal-wise, I can't remember where they came from, but there was government funds available for equal value of that, whatever they valued that golf course, gave it to JCC with the kind of a promise that we could still use it until they build so many buildings that we can't use it. So it was, the next several years was spent moving. When I started working there when I was 16, we were in the process of moving greens. The course had to be shortened terribly compared to what it used to be. And finally it just became impossible as a golf course because they built so many buildings, and we couldn't move those greens anywhere else. So they gave it up. But that was, I think, 1970.
So during what I remember again is the clubhouse, for lack of a better term, right on top of the hill.
Stadium Hill.
Yeah, Curtis Street.
That was the last. Yeah, they moved from right field at the stadium up to the top of the hill, and then I spent the next several years banging balls off the hill into the stadium. And we were mischievous, and I started, like I said, started working there, and the kids, of course, I'm 16 now, and the kids I'm talking about are probably 10, 11, 12, 13. he'd find golf balls and they'd say, Mr. Cole, hit some balls in the stadium, hit these in the stadium for us. Because we used to have driving contests to see if we could hit from the stadium hill to the first baseline.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
And I did finally manage to do that, but Burt Raymond, I don't know if you remember that name.
Yeah, sure.
He was the groundskeeper in the stadium.
Yeah, and sort of a smaller guy, yeah.
Yeah, red-haired, I think.
Red-haired,
Yeah, Red Raymond, they called
Red
him.
Raymond,
And
exactly.
he would get very upset at me because he's trying to mow the outfield with gang mowers, and bing, bing, bing. The golf balls are getting. So I don't know how many times he came up, but he knew that had to be me, and so that's. That was interesting. Like I said, with the kids, we'd always have driving contests up on top of the hill. That's before those trees that are behind the left field.
Right.
Those were only like this back then. Now they're 30 feet high, probably. And but
Aside from, the interference of baseball, did you have any relationship with the Falcons at the time or the Jamestown baseball team at all?
not any relationship, but O'Neill, Scooter O'Neill,
Johnny O'Neill.
Johnny O'Neill had always been watching me up through Little League, Babe Ruth League, American Legion, and I gave up baseball for golf, but I still was pitching. Kind of like when you need me, call me. When you can schedule me, because golf meant a lot to me, and I thought I was going to do something with golf. But the baseball, O'Neill had me on their probable prospect list, and I went down and worked out with the Falcons. Well, they were the Falcons, I think, back then, and they had a pretty good fastball and a really good curveball. But I didn't have my brother's fastball. If I had his fastball and my curve, I think I might have been able to do something. But we couldn't blend that. But then again, I gave up after just trying out down there.
Did he have you pitch batting practice? What did he do? How did it work?
It worked in the bullpen mostly,
Yeah.
with their catchers and their pitching coach. But no, I don't recall ever pitching batting practice, but it was a short-lived situation.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find time for baseball and golf because I really wanted to do something with golf. And the baseball took up too much time, and I played so much golf that, my God, I have to go pitch a ball game now. And that was a little bit taxing on the body.
So you started playing, they had tournaments and stuff at the Jamestown Municipal Golf Course, and you played in those just like anybody else.
Absolutely. You
did well.
Yeah, they had a Jamestown Junior Open down there, and I can't remember all the previous winners. John Gronquist was one of them, but there was trophies donated by the Hultquist family, brothers. One for overall champion and one for a big bowl, silver plate, not silver plated, sterling silver.
Wow.
Which I found out years later. But there was always it was donated with the intent, with the stipulation that if anybody ever won it 3 times, they get to keep it. So I won it 3 times in a row, so I got to keep the trophy. I always thought it was silver plated until finally I unscrewed the top. Instead of figurine on top and down in, I could see sterling silver. Oh wow! So this went around that's back when all the coin dealers and gold people and whatever were at all the motels, and so I just took it and said, what's this thing worth? he looked at, oh, this is sterling. I said, he goes, about $1,000. That was a lot of money back then. The Szymanski jewelers.
Yeah.
Szymanski's had that made for the Hultquist. And I think they still have the runner-up trophy in Parks and Recreation, I think. And I don't know, even haven't worked there. I never did see it, but so I got to keep it, and then years later I did sell it. But I finally got one on the coin dealers. They gave me the full weight, and the bottom portion was plated over plastic. And I would like to have seen their face when they started melting that down and black plastic started. But I mean, what am I? I'm the customer, right?
Yeah.
I'm always
buyer beware.
Yeah. So, but that was, they had a great junior program. Denny Lyons would play every year, Bob Gunnell. Gunnell didn't play the junior ones. He was about 10 years older than the rest of us, if not older than that. But a lot of big names came through there, and from Pennsylvania, from Warren, and then they had the Jamestown, Jamestown Junior Open. Then when you turn 18, they had the Jamestown Open for men's division and women's division. Sue Ellen Northup used to play in it, and in the who's down at the Villages, and let's see, that's when Bob Gunnell started playing in it. So it was and Danny O'Neill, and it was a lot of good players, and it was always something to look forward to every year. But
what drew people to the fact of the Jamestown Municipal Golf Course? I never thought of that in the same range as a Moonbrook or anything like that.
No, definitely not. It's a dog track, and it's the only way to. I mean, the greens. If you remember the course, a lot of the holes had a creek running in front of it.
Yeah.
Right in front of the greens. So there was no bouncing the ball on the green on a lot of those holes. You had to clear those creeks. And once you hit those greens, sparks would fly. That's how hard those greens were. We didn't aerate that often, not like they do today. And the upkeep was somewhat minimal. But the greens got pretty hard, and we didn't even own sand wedges or pitching wedges back then. It was like a 9-iron and try to hit the green that hard with a 9-iron, because you'd have to lay it wide open and slice underneath it and try to hit it as high as you could, and it still wouldn't hold. But it was fun. It was a heck of a challenge, and I cried like a baby when they closed it down. Steve Carlson was mayor. They had already started building the new one down at the dump, the city dump on Washington Street.
I remember that, yeah.
They had the courses all laid out over that dump. They put lots of dirt over the trash and stuff, and like 10,000 square foot greens, which are very large. They had 3 greens. The bases were in, some of the tees were in, and they ran out of money. And to get more money, they had to have, I believe this is the way it was, they had to have another environmental study because of the junk. And they shot it down, the inspectors, because there wasn't enough dirt above the trash that was always burned there to satisfy the environmentalists. So the city had to pay the money back they decided to abandon. It was going to be cost too much. And I always felt bad because, man, that was a place for the kids to grow up and
Sure.
learn to play golf. And it was a shame, but we had to abandon it because I was looking forward to continuing on playing there when as time went on. But it was a great place to learn.
Sure.
It was like going to kindergarten. You got to start somewhere. And
As you were playing, and it's your success, and I've read your scrapbooks, and my golly, it's just one win after another after another. And but was there somebody a little bit older than you who you sort of, looked up to, was sort of a guiding point, some aspirational person?
Denny Lyons.
Any?
Denny was a couple years older than me, and when I was a sophomore in high school, he was a senior. So we were on the golf team together, and we'd always been bucking heads in tournaments. And he was really, really good. I mean, of course, he grew up in Moonbrook. His father, Toby, was renowned teacher, and I'd always admired him. And Denny, I had won the JC's tournament. The JC sponsored a state tournament, a local one, and the winners go to the state tournament. And the year before, Denny won it, and I was runner-up. Then my final time, I won it, and he was runner-up. And we got to do some traveling together throughout the state. And he was just he was my role model, I know that. I mean, he wasn't a very large person. He was very small, and compared to me anyway. And years later, once he retired from Niagara Falls Country Club, he came back to this area, and we started playing in two-man pro-ams as partners, which was really fun. He still had it. Couldn't hit the ball as far as he used to, but he sure had the short game. And to me, he had the best short game I had ever seen, especially Moonbrook.
Right.
Those greens are so fast and so sloped and so difficult, and he just owned them. I mean, he would get a 20-footer downhill on a fast green, and he would literally ram it in. And if he missed it, he'd go 10 feet by, but he'd always make it coming back.
Wow.
I mean, he had so much confidence and so much ability. But I'd say he was my inspiration, because I was bucking heads with him, and I saw how good he was and how consistent he was.
Now, Bob Gunnell, who at least I used to read a lot about, was he that much older than you?
Yeah, I think he's 90 now.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, he's 90. I'm not quite 80. So he's a good 10 years older. And he's still playing, I guess, up in Chautauqua. But he was, he's one heck of a player. So he was, he was never in our junior tournaments because he was so much older that we never came up against. But I played against him a lot in local amateur, Chautauqua County Amateur, Jamestown Open, which used to be at the Municipal, and that's.
But then you continued to have successes, and you continued to run. I mean, and you actually did some, I use it like a better term, touring. I mean, you went sort of regionally and nationally.
Well, yeah, I was a member at Conewango Valley Country Club for 30 years. And was club champion down there in 4 different decades.
Wow.
So I was able to, I mean, I didn't win it every year, but I'd win some each decade of 4 decades, and 11 times. And once our pro down there, Ed Morganti, got a invite in the mail for your seniors club champion. I was the regular and senior at the same time. And he says, "Dick, you got to go to this." He said it's at Kiwa Island Ocean Course. He played it, and he said, you've got the type of game that you can do it. You can play that course. Because the wind's always blowing, and I'm a low ball hitter. I'm not one of these guys that hits the ball really high, and the wind isn't going to knock it down. And you need to hit over these marshes. You know, you got to hit 230, 240 in the air to clear these marshes. And when the wind's in your face, that's not necessarily that easy, which a lot of the other guys found out that were high ball hitters. And sure as heck, I went down there and played that 4-day tournament and ended up winning in a playoff. So it was what a treat, what a golf course. And that's where they had the 91 Ryder Cup. And a lot of crazy things happened in that Ryder Cup because of the weather and the difficultness of the golf course itself. But it was that was my top win as far as I'm concerned.
Was it a money win, or did
No, it was sponsored by Golf Week magazine and Adams Golf.
Right, yeah.
And no, it's amateurs can't win over $500
Right.
in pro shop credit. So I mean that's all. It's not a money deal. It's prestige, ego that goes along with it, and they have it every year. They spread it around the country.
Yeah.
They keep moving that tournament every year, and that year it happened to be at Kiwa Island, and I'd never played there, and I said, let's give it a shot. So
Did you have to defend your title the next year?
I had an opportunity to. I would have had to go to Texas, and I said, hey, lightning struck once. I would have loved to, but that was. Texas was a bit much, so I passed on it. I just was satisfied with the once I did it, and but then again, I'm at the end of my golfing career. That's a senior. They had to be 55 and older,
Right.
and I was 55 at the time, 2002, and that was the same year we won. My partner and I won the Italian American. 2002 was a good year for me. I won the county amateur that year. I won everything, as far as everything I got into, it seemed like. But
An Italian American, you played with Phil Camerata.
Phil Camerata, senior, yeah.
Did you play with him frequently?
We played 28 years.
I guess that's it.
Yeah, we never played when they started at Jackson Valley Country Club. Once they moved it to the Peak, Phil had asked me to play, and we did. And then we won it for the first time in 1985 at the Peak, and we didn't win it again until 17 years later. But they usually make sure, the committee usually makes sure you don't win it more than once. Because they couldn't get me, but because I had a 0 handicap most of the time anyway, but they could get Phil, and they took it out on Phil. He was a legitimate 16, 17 handicap, and they cut him down to 10. I mean, come on, now we're just playing for the heck of it. But we got him. We got him again 17 years later. But
0 handicap. Tell me anybody else who.
There's lots of them.
Lots of them?
Believe it. I was a +2, what they call a +2 is the best I ever got, where I got to give the course 2 strokes.
Right. Wow.
The 2 easiest holes on the course. If I shoot a par, I got to take a bogey. Got to add 1 to it. And I'll tell you a story about something that happened on that.
Oh my God.
I was playing at a handicap outing, a match play against one of our members at Conewango when I was a +2. The 11th hole is a par 3. I made a hole-in-1 on that 11th hole for a 1, but I got to add a stroke to it, so it's a 2. 1 net 2. And the guy I was playing
I
against,
can't even pronounce that.
and the guy I was playing against was a pretty high handicapper. He made a 4, but he got 2 strokes a hole. We'd end up tied. I make an ace. He makes a double bogey, or no, a bogey, and I lose. We end up tying the hole. I said,
Holy cow.
1 net 2. I said, okay. Anything can happen in golf, but it was.
I can't,
I
it's
just-
unbelievable.
It's
It's,
but it's I was 0 handicap probably for 40 years. Then I hovered between 3 and +2. And I have a especially good year where I broke par more than I didn't. So your handicap goes down. But hell was that. We had 13 members at one time at Conewango that had 3 or less handicaps. So they were all players. A lot of them end up moving to Moonbrook eventually. Tony Bezziano, Tommy Johnson, just to name a few. And but yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed the competition. We always had fun doing it. We played a lot of amateur tournaments, and I was going to, I started originally, told you I was practicing to become a club pro in high school and after. And I was getting set up with Wally Holmes was helping me at Maplehurst, and he sent me down to Bradford, Pennsylvania, at the country club down there with a castle. As a
Bartlett?
Not Bartlett, that's Olean, but oh my gosh, my memory fails me. But it's the country club in Bradford, and the pro was John Budd, an older gentleman who wrote articles for Golf Magazine, and he was very, very connected. And so Wally sent me down to see him. He says, "You get started with this. This guy you'll know where there's opportunities, what you have to go through." And the first question John Budd asked me is, "What's your draft status?" Back in the late 60s. I said, "Oh, well, they wanted me." And my senior year, my 2 years at JCC, every year I got a notice to show up for a physical, but I got the exemption because I was in school. But they got me in my first year was when I was in high school. They got my first notice. So I knew they had my number. I wasn't going to get out of this. So I went after JCC, and was hoping to get back, but getting married, having a child, you really can't be in that situation to start off in the golf business.
right.
So amateur golf it was going to be, which I'm very glad I did, because it was fun. It was fun dreaming about it back then, but things don't always work out. So
Did you, I assume you competed in the New York State Amateur?
yes,
You did that?
yes,
What was how well did you do there?
not. When I had it at Moonbrook in 1978, Jeff Sluman won.
Sluman, yeah.
Sindelar was in there.
Okay.
Mike Hulbert, and we had from Jamestown. We had Gunnell, myself, Dick Kimball, Dan Bjork, I think. I can't remember all the Jamestowners, but there was several of us that qualified for it. And I unfortunately got DQ'd after the first round. Alan Short was the official scorer. I don't need a golf scorecard to tell me where I know what score I'm at. Even, over, 1 over, under, whatever. I know exactly what I shot. I I shot, the hell did I shoot? Now I got to roll that clock back. I think I was 1 over 36 on the front side, and 39, no, 40, I'm sorry, 40 on the back side. So it was 70, I posted a 76, but the card added up to 77. Actually, I signed for 1 stroke higher than I actually was, because there was a mistake on you don't keep your own card. Your opponent keeps your card, and you keep his. Jim Riggs was at the 9th green. He goes, "Hey Dick, how'd you do?" I said, "I had 36." I had 36. And the guy must have heard me, wrote it down, didn't add it up. The guy I was playing with. I think I made a mistake on that. It's 37. 37, not 36. And it added up to 36, not 37. It had it in reverse. But he just wrote what I thought I had down. Mm-hmm. And not what thought I had, I knew I had. And then he made a mistake on the backside. I noticed that right away because he had the wrong total down for the backside by 1 stroke. So I told him that was wrong. We're going to make the change. We make the change. I look at the front. I see that's correct because he wrote down my correct score, but it doesn't add up to that. So about 10 minutes later, Alan Short calls me over. Says, "Dick, look at your card." I go, and I always start shaking. What did I do? And I signed for the proper score, but it doesn't add up to that. So, you're DQ'd if that happens. I didn't sign for a lower score. Signed for a higher score. And so, whatever. In and out. I didn't try it again. Yeah. Never tried it again.
What was the feeling of your first hole-in-one?
Oh, my senior year in high school up at Chautauqua, number 12. It was a horrible shot. I'll never forget it. Number 12 is that side hill par 3. I remember hitting it too far to the right. I was going to miss the green to the right. And the pin was back left. And it took a big bounce and jumped towards the green and towards the pin. It was going so fast that I thought it would be 10 yards over the green. And the guy I was playing with, I turned my back on it. That's how bad it was. And he goes, "I think it's in the hole." I said, it couldn't be. I mean, if it hit that pin, it was going to do some damage to that pin. And sure as heck, we get up there and it's in the hole. And that was my first one, and obviously was very excited. That was my senior year. And it was almost 20 years to the day when I got my second one. Mm. It took me 20 years more after all the golf I had played. And then I came pretty quick.
You had about 10 of them, didn't you?
11. I got 12 now.
12, oh my God. Now?
12 now.
You had one recently?
Last year in the Villages I got one.
Oh my gosh.
But I got 12. They're all exciting to get. They're all not good shots. I mean, and then there was one case at Conewango where I teed off on a par 3, knocked it out of bounds, and then had to re-tee to hit a provisional, knocked that in the hole for a 3. So there's crazy things happen on the golf course. But
did you ever get a hole-in-one and you had to pay money to people to buy the club?
Oh yeah, lots of times.
Lots of times.
Lots
you
of
didn't buy
times.
insurance, huh?
My first one, like I said, Chautauqua. Thank goodness, no bar. It's a dry course back then, and I got one in a 2-man scratch tournament with Blueberry, the second hole at Blueberry. Knocked that in. Of course, it was a big tournament, and that cost me. But I won a skin. At least I won a pretty good sized skin to pay for it. But easy come, easy go, or hard come, easy go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had them in Myrtle Beach, Florida. I had all the holes at Conewango, some twice, except one. And one hole, number 7, I'm sorry, at Conewango. I never got that one. And I would trade some of the other ones if I could just get that one to say I've got them all there.
Wow.
I got them all, and some of them, twice. And golf's been good to me.
You like it?
And I was healthy enough for a long time to keep it going. And I think a lot of it had to do with my size, my grip. I use what they call a 10-finger grip, which is a very strong grip. It's almost like not like a baseball grip, but it's
Well, let me
thumb.
focus in on the grip. Show me the grip
Sure.
again.
They call it the 10-finger grip.
Okay.
Years ago, when there was only a handful of pros that were using it. Al Geiberger comes to mind. He used the 10-finger grip. And I don't know if you remember Roger Strong.
I do.
Roger was on the board, the Greens Committee board at Municipal Golf Course when I was a kid. And I used to use the interlock golf
Right.
grip. And I was learning to hit the ball pretty far. And but he obviously, Roger Strong obviously saw me and realized that at our age, we didn't care where it went, just how far it goes.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "You want to hit the ball further?" I said, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Take the finger, just hold the club in your hand. Use the grip you're using now, hold the club, and you'll see that, you get a good grip. You feel pretty firm on it, but not as strong as, take that finger out of there and keep your thumb on the shaft and hold the club that way. You'll see how much stronger that is." Now, it's a matter of getting used to it. I mean, it does affect the whereabouts that the ball would land. And but I perfected it as far as, it works for me. So, and I was able to hit the ball longer than most people for a long time, until my accident in I turned 70 and going up to Chautauqua.
Mm-hmm.
I got in a car accident. Somebody was pulling off the bridge by Hogan's Hut there in Stowe. It was going to turn to go to Lakewood. And I'm going along on 45, 50, whatever the speed limit is, and I saw the truck there, but apparently the guy had his dog in the car. Dog jumped in his lap. He stepped on the gas, pulled right out in front of me, and I T-boned him. I caught the front end of his car. It kind of messed up. He was driving, but the wife got hurt in the passenger side. And I got dislocated. My arm went all the way through the back. And we don't know what caused it. If it was a seatbelt, airbags, sometimes the airbags do more damage but they save you, but they maim you. So we're not sure what happened. It just happened so fast
Right.
that, and it took them 4.5 hours to get that thing back.
Oh my God.
And in the meantime, nerves went dead, ligaments were shot, and took 2 years to get it. The nerves never came back until 2 years. Cleveland Clinic was the only place that would touch it.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally, they were able to fix it and give me a reverse shoulder replacement. But it never was right. It's still not right. But then age pops into the situation. So with all kinds of physical problems. So the golf game is a memory now. I still play. I play with the wife. Mostly I drive a cart and play just a few holes, 'cause that's all my body will let me. So, but I still enjoy it. I'll enjoy it till the end.
Well, it's an unbelievable tradition. I mean, Randy's got, I've seen the scrapbook, it's online. It's just replete with, I mean, you can't
106
believe
pages.
the successes you have. But within those pages also was your years as a basketball player. I mean, you're quite remarkable, Dick. You know, scoring titles, championships, and maybe we talk a little bit about how that became part of your world. I mean, you're playing golf, but you can't play golf 24/7 in Chautauqua County.
Not in the wintertime. So, started playing basketball. I was always tall for my age. Matter of fact, if you look at my Little League picture in that scrapbook, Ellie Norton was one of my coaches. Lou Brown. I can't remember the other ones, but they got the picture of us, and I'm towering above all of them. And I'm 12 years old. I'm 6'1". So obviously, people were trying to push me into basketball, which I'd never really gotten into. And so I went out for Washington Junior High School team when I was in 7th grade. Como Tain was the phys ed director and coach. So he took me in. He saw some potential apparently, and I played very little my 7th grade year. 8th grade, I played much more, maybe 3/4 of the games, and then I kept growing. By the time I was 9th grade, I was 6'4", and thought I was pretty unstoppable. Pretty much was, but within the junior high system. And then Como brought in Tom Prechtel to work with me. Tom was just out of Niagara University, 6'6", defensive stalwart, and I thought I could throw a hook shot up over anybody. And so he wanted me to play a little one-on-one with Tom. I ate a lot of basketballs that day. I mean, I realized how good I wasn't. But yeah, Tom, and then for years later, I played with Tom, against Tom, but he just brought him in to work with me and tried to help me get developed, and it sure worked. And then then we moved up to the high school. Dutch Leonard was the sophomore coach, the JV coach. Back then, JVs could not play on the varsity. You could only play junior and senior year. So we had an awesome sophomore team, undefeated, 17-0, and we would routinely, I think, beat the varsity. Not routinely, every so often, in scrimmages. We held our own, and but we couldn't play it with them. So we ended up having a really good sophomore year, and then I moved up in my junior year. Vince Joy was the coach. Well, he's still, and Leonard was still the JV coach. And then I played, I think I averaged about 12, 13 points a game then. And then my senior year, Dutch became the coach, and Joy was out. And then the only games we lost were the Erie teams. See, back then, Jamestown was in the what they called the
was it Lakeshore?
Lakeshore League, yeah. And because Buffalo teams wouldn't come down to our area, and we would go up there if they would take us in and let us in their league, but they didn't want to travel down here. Same with Erie. Erie didn't want us in their league because they didn't want to travel to Jamestown regularly. So we ended up having to play in the Lakeshore League, and played, Southwestern, Falconer, Dunkirk, Fredonia, those teams, but those teams were pretty good back then.
Right, yeah.
And my senior year, we ended up like 14-6 maybe. That's 6 games we lost were all Erie teams. Strong Vincent, Erie Tech, Cathedral Prep. And then we went to the Odd for the finals. The Section 6, that's as far as they went. They didn't have a state finals or anything. That's as far as you could go. And we got to go to the Odd, which was totally amazing. I mean, it was a very difficult place to play, especially when you're playing in a small gym like we had at Jamestown. And but we were playing Amherst. They were 20-0. That was Pete Chuddy's old high school.
Yeah.
Pete Chuddy went to Amherst, and he wasn't playing back then. I mean, he was playing, but not there. He was beyond that point. But they were all about 6'3", and right across the board. They didn't have any real tall, and they didn't have anything shorter than 6'3". They're all 6'3", which was going to be a problem for our guards. Excuse me. We ended up dominating the boards on them. Myself, Frank Schmerker was a sophomore. They brought him up. He was like 6'6", and took up a lot of space.
He did.
And,
Big boy.
and Bob Johnson, he ended up out in Frewsburg.
Right.
Yeah.
He was 6'7", and he was in a learning process, but he could still grab some boards. And between the 3 of us, we were in there at once a couple of times for a short amount of time. We just dominated the boards on them, and so we ended up winning 79, 72, something like that. And I was fortunate to have a 100% shooting night, of 10 for 10 from the field and 4 for 4 on the foul line, and it was a great way to end. And but I never thought it was going to be that way when we were practicing on that odd court,
Right.
because the guards were complaining. You're dribbling along, and it's a floating floor that they had out there, and you dribble along, and all of a sudden the ball doesn't go all the way back up. I mean, there's dead spots everywhere. It's kind of, if you're ever dribbling that ball, you never know what you're going to run into, and it affected a lot of the guys handling the ball. But it also affected anybody shooting, because now you're in this big arena, and there's nothing behind the buckets. It's like it's suspended out there, and there's it's hard to gauge the depth perception, and because in high school your walls are right behind the bucket, and the seats go right up to the edge of the court, and it's a lot different than playing in that atmosphere out at the Odd. But we were lucky. We beat them 20-0 and 1 to go, and they were wearing these signs on the back of their jerseys. It's 20-0 and 1 to go, and we got them. We got them. And
That was, and then naturally you would play at JCC? Was that just a given?
I didn't. Yeah, I had some offers, Fredonia, UB. I just thought I'd start at JC. What worried me is I kept getting draft notices.
Yeah.
I said, oh, geez, they want me. So then I figured, well, it's not where you start your education, it's where you finish. So I'll start at JCC, do the 2 years there, and then transfer if I'm able to. And but Uncle Sam got me, so. But yeah, I enjoyed it. My first year at JCC, George Batitis took a sabbatical to get his master's. So Wyman Ainsley, Wyman took over for him, and he had Tom Prechtel help him.
Yeah.
And So it was like old home week again.
Yeah.
So, and then we had a so-so team that year. And but the trouble with college, you don't end up in the second semester with the same people you had the first semester. And we lost some pretty good players, and we'd always our first semester games were a lot. We won a lot more in the first semester, obviously, than the second. But in my second year, I ended up in the third in the region in scoring, and the 23 point something average. About the same as what I was in high school, and then I went into service and played basketball and taught golf.
Ah.
So
You're in the Army?
yeah, in the Army. I was fortunate, and I have to thank Wally Holmes for this. He said once I got drafted, he says, put as your previous occupation a golf professional, because he goes, theoretically you were. Back then, if you worked in a pro shop, I was making $1.50 an hour in a pro shop for the city, right? But that classified me technically, apparently, as a pro.
Oh, no kidding.
And he said, so I wouldn't be lying if I put that on my application when I get my previous occupation. And then sure as heck, I get to Germany after my basic training and everything. About a month later, a staff sergeant in one of the companies right by us was looking for somebody to take over for his orderly room clerk. He was going through everybody's file, and he's a golf fanatic. He comes across mine, and I'm a cook, right? And you get drafted, you never know what they're going to make out of you. So he says, hey, who's this? He says, get this Cole over here, I want to talk to him. So I get called in the orderly room, which you really don't want to be called normally, because that doesn't mean anything good, but it did in my case. He says, golf professional, huh? Because I used to teach ladies and kids at JCC, or at municipal. Never got paid for it, but we ran clinics, and we just did free clinics. And so yeah, I taught the basics, and I told him I was in the beginning of my golf career when Uncle Sam came along. He says, do you want to teach? I said, yeah, I'd love to. So there's no golf courses here over in Germany, and then there was a 9-hole country club in the city I was at, but that was it. That was the only golf course within 30 miles. And he says, well, we have an antenna field here. We'll make a driving range, a big field. And he said, we'll mow it down for you, and we'll put 100-yard markers, 50-yard markers, whatever. There's a driving range set up, and you can teach up there. Officers, wives, enlisted men's wives, and then there are kids. So that was my summer job.
My golly.
And it worked out great. And we also had a golf team. Army Security Agency is what I was attached to. I was drafted into. Top secret kind of operation. And but they were also party-loving, golf-loving. They had their own golf team that traveled all around Europe playing in tournaments. So I was the only person that was not an officer. We had a second lieutenant from, he was the golf team captain on the Notre Dame golf team, but he hadn't been playing anymore. So we got him back on the team, and we had a pretty good team. We ended up playing tournaments in Frankfurt, Berlin, when the wall was up, and we had a 4-day tournament in Berlin, but I had won one over in Germany. I won one of the tournaments, and my picture and face was in the Stars and Stripes, a European edition. Of course, they had to bust my horns. Spatula in one hand, golf club in the other. Cook wins. I didn't realize how many guys that I knew were over in Europe, because that edition of the Stars and Stripes was all over Western Europe, and for years later I'd run into people and say, "I saw your picture in Stars and Stripes," but it was the best time was when we got a chance to go to Berlin, play a 4-day tournament in Berlin, the Berlin Country Club, strange golf course. We swore the traps were bomb craters, leftover bomb craters. They appeared to be. So, because the war hadn't been over that long, but Berlin was a real treat to go there for 4 days. And, Anda went with me, and it was great. But so my 2 years in the Army was pretty much golf and basketball.
What was the basketball part of it?
I'm sorry. We played I made the post team, so we played all around France and Germany area, playing on cement courts inside. But it was interesting. We had some pretty good college players. I remember a guy about 6'7" from Furman University, played on the team there and at college, and so we had a pretty good team. We got to travel around, play mostly locals at different sites, so that was fun.
So you didn't feel guilty?
You know when I feel guilty now is when I go somewhere and they ask for veterans to stand. I said, "Man, you don't know what I did." During the Vietnam, the peak of the Vietnams, I'm over there, and I lucked out.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that I lucked out, and so I find it a little bit tough sometimes to, stand up but hey, I did go through the basic training and
Sure.
all the other. I was on call. I could have been.
Could have been. Absolutely. You were there.
I could have had to beat somebody up with that spatula, but but it's been a good life. It's been a good life. It's been, like I said, I started when I was 9 years old, playing golf, being chased, and then now life has chased me. So, but I got lots of great memories and lots of good friends you make on the golf course and over the years. And then,
Dick, talk about your family, your kids and stuff.
I have a son who is living in San Diego. He never got into golf, but he's a heck of a baseball player and pitcher for Jamestown. He had the strikeout record for like 20-something years. He beat out Jim Adamsack, the one that the younger one.
Yeah, Jim Jr.
Jim Jr. Strikeout record for a career at the high school. I think he had 206 strikeouts. It's hard to do that because you get so many games that are rained out in high school, you don't make them up, and it's not like your other sports, so you never know how many games you're really going to end up playing. But he set the strikeout record out at Orchard Park when they stopped the game and gave him the ball when he broke the record for Jamestown, and he was a good hitter, lefty. I think that's part of the reason why he never took to golf, because he couldn't make up a decision to play golf right-handed or left-handed. He plays now, but he plays right-handed. But he only plays when he comes to Florida, to the villages to see us. But he plays remarkably well, considering. And my daughter, that's even equally great experience with her. She was the first girl to play Little League Baseball in Jamestown.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
And Cindy, and she was, it was the Pizza Hut team over in the Ellen Park. Sam Paranella was the coach, and my brother was the coach. And my daughter would always go to practice when they were working out with them. And she was a tomboy. And my brother said when she was 9 years, and when she was 10 years old, she was working and just practicing with the kids. And he goes, my gosh, she's better than half the kids we have on our team. He says, let her go out for the team next year. I said, okay, but as long as we don't influence, I don't want, because you're her uncle, that you take her. But he said, my gosh, I went to the tryouts, and there's no question. She's head and shoulders above most of the boys. And it was fun to see her play the game. And the long ponytail. She played center field and had a tremendous arm on her. But, where it went. She had a little trouble hitting that home plate from center field, but the screen saw a lot of action. But she was a good hitter. She hit a lot of triples over the first baseman's head, and she just wouldn't stop running. She got the first, keep going to second.
Is she a lefty too?
No, she was right-handed.
Okay.
Right-hand swing late over the first baseman.
Okay.
And but no, she played her 11 and 12 year,
Good for her.
and then after that, all kinds of gals started playing, which is great. Some very good. Can't remember the name. The one that followed her, she had a bunch of home runs. Can't remember the name of the gal. But so it's good to see they kind of broke the ice. And so they were athletic, but they never took to golf. I think that sometimes happens with parents if they happen to be pretty good at one sport. They'll find another sport to be good at. But
Do you have some grandkids, Dick?
only one, only my daughter in Buffalo. Her son, my son went to Niagara University on a baseball scholarship. My grandson also went to
Really?
Niagara University on a baseball scholarship. He's finished now. He's 2 years now out of the school. He was one of their best hitters. He was right around 320, 330. 2 of the 4 years he played. And 290-ish, the other 2. And but he had a good career. And all as a hitter, not a pitcher. My son went up and pitching, but my son had tremendous control. He pitched 21 straight innings without a walk in Niagara. That might still be a record, but it was. He gave up his share of home runs. They had a nickname for him up there because I don't know if you've ever been to Niagara baseball field. It overlooks the gorge, Niagara Falls Gorge, and they called him "O Canada." He said some of those home run balls he gave up, I think they landed in Canada. But hey, that's college. They're good players. And but so yeah, my grandson is still playing. He plays some of that. I forget what they call the league out in Buffalo for.
Is it Muni League?
It's like a Muni League after college.
Yeah, yeah.
And the college kids and some high school kids, but so and he helps. He volunteers as a coach at Orchard Park, assistant coach for baseball. So
Dick,
He's
talk
great
about
for-
your professional career.
Oh,
The businessman.
been a banker. When I got out of the service in 1968, we had nothing. I had my wife, my daughter, and now we got to find a job. So I stopped at Marine Midland, or Chautauqua National Bank back then,
Okay.
and Alice Yan and Paul Wolf.
Sure.
Remember them?
I do.
I know. Being an attorney, we did banks do a lot of business with the attorneys, and so I applied for any opening, and they took me on, and as a teller. So I started off as a teller, then became teller supervisor, and then moved into the lending end up at Spring Street office, and that's where my wife ended up with National Fuel Gas, because they were right across the street.
Right.
And so she ended up getting a job at National Fuel, and but I got, and after trying to think what year it was, 1970, about 1970, I would say, when interest rates went up to, the prime rate was 18%, and mortgage rates were 18% and 18 points, which means we don't want your business. But I got out of the banking business. We weren't, I see it was a little stagnant at the time. We're not going anywhere. So I got out of the banking business, went in the insurance business for 3 years, and then North Star Bank, First Trust Union, opened up on North Main. And then Jim Schnars, Harry Olson, Roger Lane, all the guys I worked with at Marine Midland all went to start up that bank. And they said, come on, you got to come back to, it's not like Marine Midland was, so it's a small bank. We make our own decisions. So they talked me into it, and I came work for them. Then the city came along. Dick Kimball ends up winning the election and asked me if I wanted to be the director of finance, because Joe
Johnson.
No.
No?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Joe, yeah, it's Joe
The
Johnson.
Chautauqua.
Yeah, Joe. No, wait a minute. No, it was Joe.
Two Joe Johnsons. One the golfer who went to Lakewood.
Right.
And then
Joe.
Didn't he go to after Stanford?
Maybe it was Johnson. I can't remember who. Whatever. He was not going to be there, so he was looking for somebody. So I worked 4 years, plus I got 2 years credit for my Army. 2 years in the Army. So got into the state retirement system there, and then when Sam Teresi wins, of course, he brought in his own director of finance, so I'm out. I go back to the bank, Marine Midland. So I spent 2 stints with Marine Midland and its successors, and 2 stints with Fleet. My last stint was with Fleet Rochester. I worked in the government banking division out of Rochester and covered the whole state. But they also sent me to be the representative on golf tournaments and outings.
There we, of course. I got to look out
And
there.
so I got to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame leather stocking course, and
An older saga.
during the
Induction?
induction Hall of Fame for
Really?
Larry Doby, Don Sutton, Ralph Bianca, I think. Trying to remember who. Those I remember. But we spent 3 days there. It was great.
Somebody had to do it.
Somebody had to do it, yeah. And but yeah, it was banking business for on and off. Like I said, I add them together, probably close to 40 years.
My God.
But I came and went twice at each bank, and
Why do bankers and golfers seem to go together, Dick? Why is
well,
that? Is
a
there
lot
any
of-
banker who doesn't play golf?
well, generally, but at least back years ago,
Yeah.
your top customers were lawyers and not property, business owners, and you were always wining and dining them. And if they played golf, that was a great way to wine and dine your customer and even close deals. If you're working on this particular commercial loan and you're getting down to the point where it's signed on a dotted line, good way to seal things with a final round of golf and little socialization.
And the guys would sign on the line even after
Not,
you
not,
beat them
not
like
a,
a drum?
not a, well, really, don't really sign anything at that, but you kind of finalize verbally that the loan or whatever was approved, and you'll have to go see Greg Peterson as your attorney to close it, and
That
but
guy.
so yeah, I was a commercial lender. I was a government banking lender, not a lender, government banking rep for Fleet at the end, and then Fleet sold out to Bank of America, bought them out. So, oh boy, here we go again. More mergers and who knows what. They wiped out the whole banking division. Every one of us then brought in their own people. So, and I was age 60 at the time, so why not? A nice payout, and so here I am. But,
Well, this has been spectacular, Dick.
Well, thank you.
So much. What a career.
it's been fun. I mean, it has been fun, and I made a lot of friends. I'll never forget some of the things we did, opportunities we had,
Yeah.
and still goes back to being chased off that golf course. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
I mean, my buddies and I, we were down first thing in the morning, and after they get the greens mowed and everything, we'd go out there and start playing and looking to make sure the truck wasn't coming. And we always made sure we played the holes by the 100-acre lot so we could disappear. But it didn't work the last time. So.
Plus with your dad's clubs, too.
Oh, those were, I wish I still had them. Wood shafts, mashie niblicks, they were old. And, but that's what we had to play with back then. We didn't have a television back then. And you played baseball or you played something,
Yeah.
kickball or whatever. So
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
you're welcome. My pleasure. And you folks keep doing the great work you've been doing. And it's great for the county. It's great for the community. Thank you. Thank you.